Thanks for watching the Manhwa recap. Subscribe for more content, and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more. The cool night breeze, the half-headed moonlight, and the senses of living as an assassin all whisper the same words. I'm dying soon. He looked around. Numerous byways ran through the trees in the garden, which looked as soft as wool. But there is no way to survive. There is only a passage through which the stench of death flows. He raised his head to the sound of a voice that pounded his heart. He see a middle-aged man with long, frosted silver hair. It was him, Darius Robert, like a morass of death. The enormous garden billowed death into the air due to the presence of a single man, the head of house. Robert, Darius tell him that he have shown a competence that befit your title as the leader of the shadows. The family has grown even faster thanks to you moving behind the scenes. Raon tell him that he merely did his job, while he bowed his head like an emotionless wooden doll. But Darius began softly to ask, "Do you think that a shadow needs freedom?" He answered that shadow duty to follow its master's orders. Thoughts, emotions, feelings are unnecessary. Darius tell him that is correct and ask him, "Why did you act on your own even though you knew that?" Darius' voice sharpened, becoming cold and tightened around his heart, "And you even broke your brainwashing." Goosebumps formed along his spine. He stayed down to hide his surprise, or acted differently than before. He had not the slightest idea how he found out that the brainwashing had lost its effect. And how did he break the brainwashing at that point? It was clear that he already knew everything if he was acting like that. Raon wondering how did he find out and how did he notice that? The brainwashing. That's how the Robert family operates the assassination group Shadow. They kidnap or buy children, kill their emotions, and brainwash them to use them as assassins for the rest of their lives. He was also brainwashed, but thanks to an accidental chance, he was able to break the terrible shackles. Because he was preparing to run away from the family. Raon knew that it was no use to keep pretending as a brainwashed shadow, so he inquired how Darius knew about it. Darius explained that he would always use two collars for the assassin dogs. One was brainwashing and the other he didn't mention it and proved it through his actions. He snapped his finger, and Raon felt an unbearable pain inside his heart. He screamed as he wasn't able to bear it. Darius stood in front of him and watched the whole time without showing any emotions. Raon wondered about the pain he felt in his heart. He felt like his heart was being sawed into two pieces. Darius revealed that the reason for Raon's suffering was the rage worm. There was an insect inside Raon's body, and it was eating away his heart. As Darius commanded it to, the rage worm is the worst kind of enchantment out there, which would let you look into the emotions of the slave. Raon was mad when he heard about it. Not only they brainwashed him, but they also fed him rage worms. Darius is acting like the most righteous and fair person in the world. But no one knows this side of him. He cursed Darius to use such cowardly techniques. Darius dismissed that and corrected it as a careful preparation. It had enabled him to notice Raon, who had undone the brainwashing. There is a saying that everyone wears a mask, but Darius's mask was thicker than the others. Raon wasn't able to withstand that arrogant gaze. Not only he was kidnapped at an age he did not even remember. He was raised as Robert's family assassin and hunting dog, as the head of the Shadows. He is without emotions or a mind of his own. He coincidentally learned a breathing technique called the Ring of Fire. He found it in a dungeon when he was on a mission from Darius Robert, as if to prove that it was a divine skill of the continent's best swordsman long ago. He was able to escape the brainwashing. Raon thought that he could finally dream of freedom and began to have high hopes. But now he was met with death instead of freedom. He wondered what kind of sin he did commit to have to die such a meaningless death. But he refused to die like that. He was determined to take revenge on Darius Robert, who had spoiled his life. Darius was shocked to see Raon after enduring all that pain. Raon was determined to take at least Darius's arm as a compensation. He at least wanted to injure him. He charged forward to attack him. As he refused to die so pathetically, he attacked Robert with all he had. He didn't learn any powerful sword techniques, but only assassination techniques. He released his most powerful attack, along with his breathing skill, the Ring of Fire. Darius wasn't bothered by that one bit. He just slashed a line with his hand. Raon's head separated from his body at that one strike. Raon lamented about the fact that he wasn't even able to land a single strike on Darius. But unbeknownst to him, Robert was surprised at Raon's tenacity. He had managed to undo the brainwashing and even attacked him while he was in pain. As the rage worm devoured his heart, he thought that he had completely blocked Raon's attack, but Raon managed to leave a small injury at the hands of Darius. It had been so long since Darius had sustained an injury. He felt ridiculous that he was bitten by his own disposable hunting dog. But Darius dismissed those thoughts about Raon since he's dead now. He summoned the shadows, who were the same as Raon, and ordered them to dispose of the body. Darius is one of the 10 strongest martial artists on the continent. It was a given that Raon wouldn't be able to win against him. He was strong, and Raon was weak, even though there is nothing he could do about it. He felt unbearable rage within him. He was upset that he had to live a life like this for no reason. He was upset that he was humiliated and manipulated all his life. He's upset that he wasn't able to complete the cultivation technique, the Ring of Fire. He wants the help of anyone to get revenge, no matter what. Suddenly, the necklace worn by Raon shined brightly. It indicated a system message that Raon was chosen by Rage. The being named Rage tried to possess Raon's body, but the target's vessel had already died. So, the possession ended in a failure just like that. The assassin Raon, the head of the Shadows of Robert's family, died that day. When Raon opened his eyes, he was in the middle of a green garden. A lady in her 30s called him affectionately as Sunshine. She had bright yellow hair like the sun rays, and red eyes like a ruby. She showed him the toy, and Raon tried to grab it with his little hands. She is the mother of Raon, and he called her Mama since he couldn't reveal that he was a reincarnated man. And shout like a man in the body of the child. As the lady inquired about the toy, Raon spoke about it in a childish tone. The lady cuddled Raon and showered her cute little baby with praise. Raon still can't get used to this. The woman holding him is her mother in this life, Sylvia. She asked Raon to call her mother in his little voice. See the gentle one? It's still hard to believe him, but he was reincarnated as this woman's child with all his memories. His past life as a murderer. At first he thought he was dreaming and slept for 100 days, but he was never able to wake up from this dream no matter how many times he tried. So he decided to accept the fact that he was born again. Sylvia praised the weather as she carried the Raon and hoped that the patriarch would arrive soon, so that her sweet son could have a name in this house. And it is customary for the patriarch to name the newly born child Raon. She also waited for that because it was like that. He was unable to live with Sunshine as his name for the rest of his life because the patriarch did not visit him once after 100 days. Raon asserted that he must have been really busy and could not. Raon knew a lot after reincarnation, but he got that in a rich house. Seeing the surroundings, he guessed that he was born in a very famous family, and he felt that it was better to be born again in a strong family instead of being born in an ordinary family, because he needed revenge after all the anger and desire. Because revenge. It was still very prominent in his mind, but he had to be patient to ensure that he did not leave that. He never left the room and did not know where he was, nor did he know the status or type of the family into which he was born. The situation he was in now was that he was not able to complete the Ring of Fire in his past life, so he needed to be more patient because he had many things that he wanted to do. Raon was called the best killer in the history of the Robert family in order to obtain his rights. Revenge. He could swallow his feelings no matter how long it took because of the way he was curious about his family. The palace was big and luxurious, and he was more than just famous. Suddenly, he heard a rapid noise. A maid named Helen entered the room by force and reported. Sylvia announced the arrival of the patriarch's page. Sylvia's father screamed when she heard this, even though the Raon determined that the patriarch was not his father, but Sylvia's grandmother, planned to prepare for, he arrived. But Helen explained that it was too late because the patriarch was already there. Suddenly, Sylvia and Helen felt the pressure surrounding them. Raon was also able to feel the tension around the atmosphere. In the distance, a man announced the arrival of the patriarch who was coming towards him and Sylvia. Raon felt that even the existence of the patriarch felt overwhelming. He watched the man who was coming towards him and managed to find his identity. Sylvia greeted her father, but he cut to the chase and inquired about the child. Raon noted the golden blonde hair and flame-like red eyes and his ice-cold aura. He was the master of the greatest house in this continent, Zieghart's family. Patriarch destructive king of the North, Glenn Zieghart. It seemed like Raon is reincarnated into the most powerful family on the continent.